Depending on if you think the player is a good signing or a bad signing. And when I throw it over to you, what I want to know is if you think it's a realistic signing and if you would sign the player or not. Okay? So even if you don't think it's an unrealistic signing, you can still tell us if you would prefer not to or if you think the player would fit in. So the first player that we're going to be discussing is Fabian Ruiz. If you guys know who Fabian Ruiz is, he's a Napoli midfielder. He is, I'm pretty sure he's 24 years old, if I'm not mistaken, Fabian Ruiz. And he is Spanish international. He currently is left-footed. He could play as a midfield replacement for Granit Xhaka, in my opinion, in the way that we currently play. He would fit in that position as an 8, and he would push Partey deeper. He's 25 years old, Spanish international, has played for Napoli over a couple of years, and he has a contract situation where he could be leaving very, very soon, and we'd be able to get him for around £16 million. This is a player who's highly rated as one of the best players in the Serie A, and the fact that Napoli would be letting him go for such a cheap price, to me, sounds ridiculous. There's also teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid are also currently after the player. For me, it's a no-brainer. If we can get him for 16, 20 million, I'll take him like that. And I think the style of play of the player, you need to know he's a left-footed, versatile midfielder who can play in a double pivot, who can play in a single pivot, in a midfield 3, and he's also played higher up the pitch in the number 10 position before also. So he's very versatile, and I think he would be looked at as like a taller version of a Santi Cazorla almost, with his close control and touch and his ability. And I've even heard some people compare him to the likes of Paul Pogba, but I don't think he's that type of player. He's more of a guy who can do everything. He's just an industrial 8. But what do you guys think? I don't know if you know too much about the player or not, but I'll let you go first, Saeed. Thumbs up?
Yeah, thumbs up. I think he's a good fit for us in a position that we really need some good players. I mean, the midfield for us is where we need some really good players.
Okay. What about yourself, Colleen? Have you heard of Fabian Ruiz?
It's realistic and he's a good player for that price. Yes, no brainer. Simple as that. If we can, why not? I think it's low risk.
At that price, it's too good to be true.
Yeah, it's a steal. Yeah.
Too simple, right, Femi?
Yeah.
I've not watched one game of this guy, but for that price, I mean, it sounds like low risk, like it's like low ceiling, low. Why not? Especially if we don't blow the bag on a center mid this season, then yeah, might as well. But I still want us to blow the bag on a midfielder. Like I really want us to blow a bag on a mid. Like I'm a big guy of like midfielders wins games and they win leagues. I think that's where we should really invest. But that's just me. I'm deluded apparently.
I'm gonna move on to the next one. Just to let you guys know, this could be the end of Nicolas Pepe. Rapinha. Rapinha has been linked to Arsenal today. Reports saying Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool are all after Rapinha over the past couple of years. Those are the teams that have been after him. And today, with Arsenal being another team looking at Rapinha, the Leeds midfielder, in my opinion, is probably one of the best players outside of the original top 6. And anybody who gets him would be absolutely lucky. They have not given us a price for how much we would have to pay to get the player. But if West Ham are getting rejected a bid of 25 million, we definitely have to pay over between 30 to 70 million for the player. I don't know how much Arsenal will be willing to spend, but he's definitely an upgrade for Nicolas Pepe. I personally would take Rapinha any day of the week. I think Bukayo Saka playing and being the only good option on the right at this moment is a problem. And Pepe, long term, I don't think he's going to have a successful career at Arsenal. I think he's going to have to be moved on eventually. I would take him, but the price is the main point. How much will he cost? You were putting a thumbs down, Femi. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no. He's probably going to be too priced. The price is probably going to get priced out because of how good he's been playing this season. And if you look at the priority, like me, I'm very big on priority. Right now, we need one, if not two strikers. We need a midfielder, and we need a backup right back. If we don't get those things in especially Rev Europe, we're probably also going to need a left-footed backup center back as well. These are all in front of the list before I'm thinking of getting a player like Rapinha. I love him.
Let me just stop you. 50 million is the price Chelsea have been told.
I'm good. Unless we're ready to blow 250 mil this. No, I'm okay. It's
okay. So that's a no for Rapinha for you, Colleen.
I like him. I kind of agree with him. I don't think it's realistic. I think we're gonna get priced out. I think we've got other priorities. If we have the money and get our priorities sorted, sure. I just don't think we're gonna have the money to do our priorities as well as him. So if I had to pick, no, but I do really appreciate him as a player.
By the way, I love him. I want to make that clear. I like him as a player. Like, he's one of the best right wingers, period, in Prem. But
Gnabry over Rapinha? Would you guys say yes?
Price, man. If we can actually, no, we would still have to pay. No.
Okay.
No.
Saeed, what are you saying? Rapinha, thumbs down. Thumbs down.
It's going to affect the development of Saka. We didn't need that interruption.
Okay, I would take him, but I think he costs way too much money, in my opinion.
For me, it doesn't fit the way that we want to play.
Okay, moving on. This one here is going to divide opinion. Paul Pogba, free transfer from Manchester United. Thumbs up, thumbs down. He's not going to cost you much, but he's going to cost you a lot of money on wages. He's going to cost you at least minimum, I would say maybe 300 to 400K per week. That's the kind of money he's on at Manchester United. And I don't think Arsenal would be ever willing to pay that type of money. For me, it's a big thumbs down. I think where would he play next to Thomas Partey? I don't think it would even suit the way we play. And I think the fact is Pogba, amazing player, amazing quality player, way better than the majority of the midfielders we have. But I don't think the wages and the player would fit at Arsenal. I personally don't think it would fit. I don't think it would be successful. And I think we'll find ourselves in another Aubameyang or Ozil situation and he'll be maybe forced out the team in the future. So I don't want to see that. Femi, you seem to disagree.
Whoa, yeah, no, I'm the hugest Paul Pogba fan. Like, so I'm very big on center mid wins titles. That's me. And yes, we could,
But what about the wages? What about
we cleared out so much that's not even a conversation for us anymore. Like, again, if we're going to, laud them because I think that's the thing. Like, we don't want to be a club.
What about his agent?
Again, we don't want to be a club where our wages are literally where it is right now. What we did was we cleared it out so people who do deserve those contracts get those contracts. And people who like Bukayo Saka and Martinelli, if they want extensions, we can offer them the money they want without them having to feel like they can get priced out.
So it's a thumbs up for Pogba, but is it realistic?
I think so. Why wouldn't it be? Because again, I just want to be clear and I'll be quick with this. Imagine imagine Pogba in the role granted Xhaka is playing right now. Are you serious? Where you're giving him a bit more freedom than you're giving him while also giving him the luxury to think that, like, you're going to have a solid defense behind you and he can actually play the role that he was promised to play at Man United and never actually played.
Okay, let me give you an example. Imagine him going picking between Arsenal and Chelsea and picking Arsenal. I don't think
if you don't want to pick Arsenal, by all means. I'm saying if he is going to pick us, I am so for it. I am for a guy like that, the class like that. Yes, 100%. Yes, yes. Okay. Ooh, I love. Nah, that's my guy.
I mean, short and sweet. I wouldn't turn away Paul Pogba at all. However, I do not see it happening. Not even in my dreams. It's not happening.
And that's fair.
It's not happening. It's just not.
What about yourself, Saeed?
Some down. And it's for two reasons. The first one, he's a bit of a diva. You need to please him in order to get him to play. That's the first reason.
Fair.
The second one is that his wages are not fit for our
which is fair.
Not because it's very high, it's because it's going to split the dressing room. So no at all.
Look at this. The comment sections are split too. Some people are saying hell no. Some people are saying hell yes. It's crazy. We got our Wolves fan backstage. Bibi, I'm going to add you immediately after we're done this transfer part. Next topic, guys. Next one. We're gonna move this one quickly. So we've done Fabian Ruiz. We've done this. Before we move on to the strikers, I just want to give you guys a quick update on Maitland Niles. He seems to not be working now at Roma. Jose's already fed up of him, and he's going to be sending him back to Arsenal, and he will not be buying him in the summer. This could be a big morale destroyer for Ainsley Maitland-Niles and could hurt him in the future long term. I'm very disappointed. Unfortunately, it did not work out for him over there in Rome, and he will be coming back to Arsenal very, very soon. Just to let you guys.
I'm a bit surprised that I'm sorry. I'm just going to take 30 seconds. That guy, when he actually played in his position in Arsenal, he actually took the man of the match. I remember that. Okay, so we don't put him in his position. We always play him out of position, and we go and loan him, and we tell him that you're lazy. He's not lazy. He's a very good player, but he just need a chance. He just need time on the pitch. That's basically what he needs.
Facts. Now moving on to, I was just gonna mention it quickly because I don't really think there's anyone is surprised Ainsley Maitland-Niles will be coming back. Jose always wanted him as a stopgap, and they bent us over for that deal. They knew they didn't want him long term. Who will Arsenal sign as a striker? There's a question in the polls, guys. Everybody knows the three players that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Alvaro Morata, we're going to be talking about João Félix, and we're going to be talking about Jonathan David. But before we go in order, at this moment in time, 120 people have voted, and 38% currently have Jonathan David first. So since Jonathan David's first, we're going to begin with him. Jonathan David, Canadian footballer, plays for Lille, will be playing Chelsea today in the Champions League. He's been rumored to be wanting to move to the Premier League. Today, the rumors came out that he wants to move to the Premier League. Would you guys take him at Arsenal? Do you think this is a realistic signing? I'm going to start with you, Femi.
I don't know. Most of the strikers you're going to mention, like I'm a big believer of I can't give opinions on people I haven't watched. It'd be like it looks good, it sounds good, but what I know, and maybe like when we say the other ones, you can kind of skip me for time. But I guess it's as long as the person understands that his role is not just scoring goals, but understand that you're going to need to press. You're going to need to hold the ball up. And on top of that, you need to have the pace to keep up with the wingers and or wingbacks when they're coming up. If you could fit the bill in all those three things, as well as be a clinical striker when we need you at least 25% of the season, then, I mean, I'm not against it. I just, again, you have to fit the bill on at least 3 of the 4 things. So that's me.
Okay. Colin?
I like Jonathan David. This might be a bit flippant of me, but I've got a little bit of Lille PTSD from almost signing a player from there, see how they'll fit in the Premier League, which is a bit harsh on Pepe, but whatever. And the question shouldn't be what striker we're signing, it should be what strikers. Like, we need, out of all the names, I'm like 50-50 on all of them. I'm just not sure. It could go the other way. I mean, out of all of them, I mean, I don't think João Félix is even realistic. By the way, I don't see that happening. Like, I don't think it's realistic. I think Jonathan David is realistic. Alvaro Morata seems like a player that we would have signed probably like a couple of years ago. That kind of profile.
Okay, so talk to me about João Félix. What do you like about João Félix?
I mean, well, I don't really like him much under at Atleti, to be honest with you. We're going back to really when he was playing back in Portugal. He's a lovely footballer, the way he passes the ball. I don't know whether he would actually. I think Arteta could probably get a tune out of him, if I'm honest with you. He doesn't play. I don't know if he would be able to do the pressing in like the defense way, because the way he plays that under Simeone it's not really playing to his strengths. He doesn't seem to be playing that great, in my opinion. He's kind of someone who kind of needs that free role, but he's a very, very nice player. If you get him ticking, he's a very good player. They paid like crazy money for him. They're going to want to recoup a lot of that. We ain't paying that, so I just think that's unrealistic. Morata, I'm not a big fan of him, but he seems to be that kind of player that seems to manage to just get these big clubs everywhere he goes. I don't think if we had him, he'd have to be like a plan B or C. Like, for me, I don't really rate him as a plan A. Jonathan David would be my first choice, but again, none of these players are screaming out to me that they would slot in straight away and just have a great impact immediately. I think they're all kind of risky, if I'm honest with you.
All right, Saeed, just before we go, out of the 3 names, who would you prefer? Jonathan David, João Félix, or obviously Morata? And who's the most realistic one for you?
I think David would be the most realistic, and that's not because the other names are not very good. They are great players, but you need to fit the player into the team. And the way that we want to play, we need a false 9, and we need another striker that actually can be an anchor. So you can have that kind of flexibility in the style of play. So if you would like to have a false nine, like someone like who actually can keep the ball, distribute, do the pressing very well, and get back to help the midfield, that's the player that you want. Because what you really want is that to get, you know, the two wingers like someone like Saka and Martinelli or Smith Rowe out there to actually attack the box and score for you. So that's what you want. So if any of the three players can fit this kind of criteria, then I'm all for it. If it doesn't, then it has no place. The other profile that we want is maybe just for the flexibility of the style of play. If we want to change that style of play and play with an anchor striker, plus someone like who's like a very physical player,